All right, everyone, welcome to SkillSharp. We're excited to have you back. I'm here with my co-host and partner.
Hi, I'm Todd Nakasone. Welcome back to SkillSharp.
So today we have a special guest, someone that is a subject matter expert in not just staffing and kind of creative agency support, but also AI and building workforce solutions. Her name is Dominique Goulet. I have known her for quite some time. We won't talk about the actual amount of years, but she is someone that brings a wealth of knowledge and a certain interest in supporting clients and allowing them to really achieve their goals and their needs. So, welcome to Skillsharp, Dominique.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today. Brian, you were actually key in helping me move into the recruiting space. I have to give you a shout out. We won't say how long ago that was, but I've been with Onward Search for many a years now at this point, and I am the VP of AI Workforce Solutions, which is kind of a unique title and one that is not really out there, but I have the opportunity of working with so many different types of companies of all shapes and sizes in various industries, primarily because I was in LA for so long, a lot of entertainment, tech, and gaming clients, and really helping them to hire, right? Creative marketing and tech talent on the contract side or direct hire side. And it's been a really fun whirlwind. It's been a fun ride. The evolution over the past, I would say 5 years, is really that need for talent that has some sort of AI experience, right? Helping to infiltrate workforces with AI expertise. And that's kind of been a further evolution over the past year of us building a roster of AI experts within creative, marketing, strategy, digital, to help companies move their workforce and their organizations further into AI. So that's a little bit about me and my more recent journey.
Give us a sense of the evolution of it, though. So, I mean, not to use necessarily the pandemic as the benchmark, but before that, what was Onward Search doing? What solutions were they providing most? And then obviously moving forward, how have you all adapted to the new landscape and providing these additional workforce solutions?
Yeah. So Onward Search is nearing the 20-year mark. They're a small company, privately owned, family ran company, and really a boutique staffing and recruiting agency focused on creative marketing. We evolved over the years to include tech because there's such a nice, lot of teams, end up needing technology talent. And that's really been our niche. We are not industry specific, but my clients, kind of sit in that entertainment, tech, and gaming space. And the evolution really has been internally ourselves incorporating AI tools to help our work days be more efficient from the sales and business development and marketing side in terms of creating content, targeting clients and companies, people we want to partner with. On the recruiting side, AI tools to help better identify matches and help with pre-screening and help with our speed, right? We're in a very competitive environment being, a recruiting and staffing agency. And then more recently with offering of AI solutions. And this is completely separate from what, traditional recruiting and staffing agencies offer. It still has that matchmaking element where we're pulling in an AI expert, a consultant to help our clients move their companies further into AI. They'll come in and do an assessment, scope out a need, a project, a use case where we can expect to see an immediate impact with a team and or a company.
And with a lot of your clients, where are you seeing, what areas do you feel that, you know, they're craving the automation aspects of AI?
Yeah, because we work with so many creative marketing teams, it's under those realms that I hear the most about, right? How can we make, we have 10 designers. How can we get them to turn around more faster? How can we get them to use certain tools so they're not spending, hours and hours doing these things? When we look at more of an operational strategy side, that's when you look at, general workflows and processes. What are team members spending a lot of time doing? And from the outside, it's really hard to tell without going in and speaking to people, looking at what those workflows are, and then looking to see where we can make recommendations.
Oh, so you're actively looking at creating custom solutions.
Yes. 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 So it's a fun yet different conversation. It's, it's moving into other areas around, for example, organizational design, right? Um, what I'm foreseeing in the future is an org chart that actually includes GPTs and AI agents that have responsibilities within the company. And you're ultimately taking those responsibilities off of other employees' plates, but hopefully giving those employees more time in their day to be more strategic, to invest in their own growth and development within their role and within their career.
Dominique, technology is so like moving on to the next thing. They're so fast trying to adopt to different things. Uh, if you remember, autonomous driving was the big thing, right? With Tesla and driverless taxi cabs or whatever it is. And then, also there was like data. I had to hire for data, data engineers, data scientists.
Yeah.
AI feels different. It feels like there's going to be more widespread adoption. Uh,
Yeah.
can you speak on that in terms of what you're seeing in different industries?
Yeah, I think AI is an overarching technology. It's really a
Mm.
change. It's not autonomous driving. It's not, remember 3D TVs? How
Mm,
everyone was
Right.
obsessed and we were all going to sit at home with our, it never really happened. VR, even VR, like I think it took a little bit, people are a little bit more into VR, but it's really about AR, augmented reality, right? Where you can just use your phone. Um, AI is completely different. I mean, it can help in every single task in your life. It's not, I don't have to drive anymore, or I don't have to, I can be in this immersive experience, and be entertained. AI is, I don't need to send this email. I don't need to research. I don't need to, trying to think of other examples. It's anything. And that's what I think is a little hard to conceptualize. Um, it's, it's literally anything. Anything you want AI to do, it might not do it better than you might do it, but eventually it will, and that's when we get to that singularity point in time, which is exciting and also scary at the same time.
Well,
yeah.
so my mom always talks about, she's the typical AI is this and AI is coming. And
Yeah,
I'm like, Mom, it's already here.
here.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're photo editing and you go to a different filter, that's
Yeah,
AI. Do you know what I mean? The fact that you're being introduced to new music or, you're getting an introduction to a new person on Facebook or what have you. To your point, I mean, it's just an overarching thing. It's already here. Now it's about understanding how you can become more efficient and effective at using it. But
yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
think what's new is these LLMs. It's the Copilot, it's the
sure.
ChatGPT, and all these other tools. But AI features and embedded features like Siri, like Alexa, saying
Right.
Alexa, and I know she's gonna pop on and say hi. But those tools, that's AI. What you were talking about, the algorithm, if you're shopping and it's recommending tools, those are all AI predictors, right? What are you more likely? And it's a huge business in advertising, right? Like if you're on Instagram and it's feeding you, ads, and I personally like it because I discover new brands that I like and I eventually do buy from them. So it does work, but it might enhance my life. And so I don't mind it. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that, you talked about Tesla. Um, Even not using the automated driving feature, there's so many other AI related features in that car. So whether you've driven a Tesla or been in it, you were experiencing AI. I think that the real change now is using ChatGPT or using Gemini or Copilot. That's something that is new to people over the past, year or two.
What I wanted to ask you, going back to your assessment that more clients are asking for AI solutions or just the fact that they want to get more acclimated to it,
Yeah.
does that become a talent attraction tool for individual creators in the marketplace that may want to work with Onward Search?
That's a really good point. In a lot of instances, depending on the project, the use case, the solution, there are additional people needed beyond our AI expert, our AI consultant. So, but most of the time, they're creative marketing and tech roles that we're placing with other clients as well. But absolutely, we're always looking for new talent, especially those that have AI skills. This is an area that we're emphasizing and want to also share with clients that, even if they're looking to hire a creative director or a marketing manager, we can find candidates that have, AI experience that can bring that to the table. So a lot of these projects, I would say yes, but they're projects, so they're shorter term. I would say about 75% of our contract and contract to hire searches are true staff aug, where they're 40 hours a week, there's 6 to 12 months. And so it's just the difference between project-based work or longer term opportunities. But either way, Onward is definitely a resource for candidates who are looking for work that we would love to be in touch with. It's interesting, the most tech forward companies that still, even though they have amazing tech products, they might still have operational or organizational opportunities, right? They might be efficient, but in incorporating AI, they will be more efficient. And that's what I think is really exciting about offering this different solution for clients. And it really gets down to where is that opportunity, right? We need to kind of have conversations around what are the challenges and how can we help solve problems.
And I could tell you, we all need the help.
I
We
mean,
do.
it's so hard to stay up with AI. There's a new update, there's a new piece of information every hour.
Yeah.
It's just not possible for the average person to, who has a job, who's working, right, to try to stay up on the topic. And because of that, it's really daunting, right? Like, who is an AI expert?
Yeah, especially if you feel, technology challenged. You may not even feel it, you may not know it, but you are technology challenged because you're right, it does change so fast.
It's almost impossible to stay up to date. And I think that's why too, there's fear, right? There's of course the fear around AI taking your job. I mean, I probably hear that every single day, right? With news articles and companies, putting mandates in place. And it is really creating a lot of fear out there. Is that what you all are hearing as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard upwards of about 50% of the entry level jobs are going to start going away because AI will help us be more efficient and effective. And, they may just hold off on hiring additional headcount.
Yeah.
They're expecting us to be more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of similar in a way to when a company does a massive downsizing, right? And you're saving, you're saving money and you're going to be more lean and mean. But what we see in the recruiting world, at least on the staffing agency side, is 3 to 6 months later, contract roles pick back up because there's gaps and identified of areas where, you don't know what every single person's doing in their workday, even if you have a job description, the responsibilities. So cracks start to come through. And I think that whole idea, of the lack of entry level talent, there's going to be areas where maybe we do need some junior talent. Maybe they're not doing the admin tasks that we asked them to do in the past, but we need their human expertise, So a lot of entry level talent that we're speaking with, they're excited about AI and they feel empowered by it. And there's less of that fear because they're learning it in school.
There's a Jedi mind trick though that everyone's being kind of hit with. Um, think about it. The more experienced people, the more people in management and leadership are less technologically savvy.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to implement AI, guess who you need? You need people that are more on the ground, ready to be kind of in the lab, work with it, and that's usually younger people. So
Yep.
I think although a lot of jobs just from efficiency will go away, I think if the I shouldn't say young people, it's anyone that wants to be in that kind of entry to kind of mid-level role, if they are masters of the technology,
Yeah,
they actually have more power than they think.
absolutely.
Or they could train themselves.
Entrepreneur,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah, don't love that.
Yeah.
Then
It,
just got to take the bull by the horns and, you know, figure it out on your own. And then, hey, you're trained.
Yeah. It seems like we're in a moment in time where there is adoption from corporations, right? I would say Q2 in particular, I noticed a massive change in the marketplace where there was leaders of companies publicly saying they're adopting AI, they're putting resources and time into it. And so it feels like we're in this place where AI is the topic, right? You can't listen to a podcast, read an article, attend a conference, or even sit in a meeting without the topic coming up. So hopefully people, individuals and companies starting to embrace it. And really any technology with this, whether it's an AI tool or any technology, if companies aren't providing training, if they're not helping with upskilling and showing best practices, then you're left to the individual kind of doing it on their own and experimenting. And many don't, right? You're used to learning, hey, I do this way, and I'm kind of not maybe set in their ways, but they're just like, this is how I do this, as opposed to kind of a true change management, a change of habits. And it kind of requires someone stepping outside of their what they're used to, which can feel uncomfortable. But I think the results, what the individual is going to get is, exponential and is so needed.
Yeah, I think gone are some of the days where you have highly technical jobs that follow a distinct set of rules, like accounting or
Mhm.
software engineering, right? That some of those jobs might go away because it's going to democratize the ability to, you know, do the GL close or, write a JavaScript.
Right.
You could tell I'm not a technology guy because write a JavaScript. That's the correct term, but you
It
know,
is.
be more engaged, right,
Yeah.
in the actual coding.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
from a creative workflow, creative technology standpoint, what are the trends or what are the impacts that you're seeing from AI?
Um, there's a lot, to be honest. In terms of workflow, as it relates to creative teams, really it's the adoption and the use of AI tools. We have Midjourney, Runway, Sora, Suno, there's so many. And you know,
Could you give a breakdown of those? Because I've heard of some, but I'm not even sure of all. But I mean, just briefly what they are and what they're used for.
Yeah, and the thing with it, and a lot of AI tools, there's overlapping capabilities. So I would
Mm.
say Midjourney, Runway, and Sora, they're all image-based, video-based AI tools where you can either give it a prompt and it'll create, it could be a still image, it could be an animated image, it could be live action, or it could be just a video. Like think about creating a commercial. ChatGPT actually rolled out with their latest image generator as well, which is pretty comparable to some of these creative AI tools. Suno is the only one that I had listed that was a little bit different, and that's creating songs. So you can prompt it. I did one the other day that was like a country song about how much I love my puppy Thelma. And honestly, like the first take, I loved it. And then it gave me a few different versions and different styles, different voices. And I mean, it's so much fun. And of course, there's the risk there with the music industry, right? Like if it's like you don't need songwriters, but I don't see at this point it like taking over, right? Like we're not gonna start listening to AI songs on the radio. I mean, maybe that'll happen, but I just like the industry itself isn't going to go away, you know? I kind of went on a different tangent there.
Not at all. Not at
Uh,
all.
so creative teams, okay, really incorporating AI tools. The main thing is efficiency, right? How much can a designer turn around in one day without any sort of technology help? And they all use AI tools. Most of them use the Adobe Creative Suite to animate, to edit, to work in, working in Photoshop. So now with the extra layer of an AI tool, it's just automating. It's helping to implement, faster work workflows, best practices, and companies are just saving time. So because of that, because of the need to upskill talent, what we've actually done, it's about a year and a half old now. We've partnered with a AI professor out of San Francisco. He is a creative director by trade within the advertising world. And we've now created custom Gen AI creative trainings for teams that feel like they need to implement more AI within their workflows and help upskill their talent. So that's been a really fun and interesting conversation where teams are seeing an impact right away. We have one agency who went through a four course series and saw a 50% reduction in time that it takes them to, do a project from start to finish.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
great metric.
measurable results. Yeah,
So you're seeing a heightened interest from companies trying to figure out AI.
yes.
Would you say what is what's the toughest challenge for them to get started?
Exactly. Where do they start? Normally some sort of assessment is needed, right? Most companies, there's a pain point. Sometimes it's operationally, that's kind of the department that can oversee a company and organization and start to see there's areas where we can automate. So we started partnering with a few AI experts that are helping in this realm, being coming in to assess and make recommendations on best practices, tools that they might want to implement. And the outcome is like it's it's amazing because every company has a different need
Mhm.
and a different I guess challenge. And every single conversation kind of starts in one area and it grows into, oh, we could implement it here and here and here once you start thinking about what's possible.
So the
So,
education part, sorry about that, Todd. So the education part seems to be really opening up their eyes to many more possibilities, and then they
Yeah.
take that to a greater assessment of really all of their processes, right?
Yeah. You think about your employee base, how can you make your employees more valuable? And that, of course, is great for their own career growth. But then when you're looking at an organization, there's so many areas. Our marketing team, who is amazing, they've been creating a lot of content around AI to help navigate this world, and they actually created a like 6-step guide on where do you get started. So it comes in with a needs assessment and opportunities. You look at small use cases that can be easily improved. You create a roadmap. You keep AI skilled talent, you upskill them, you hire them. And then you formalize kind of like a company AI policies. And then you kind of have that loop where you get feedback, you monitor ROI, you help to optimize. And so that's kind of an area if someone doesn't know where to start at all, that's kind of a good step-by-step way of getting started.
so when you start working with a client, do you
Yeah.
have to uh, break down the workflow and document it, or do you require like a some kind of workflow already? How do you start?
Yeah, it's an audit. We like to use assessment because it's a nicer word.
Mhm.
No one wants to be audited. But yeah, we need to get into the files. There's a lot of, you do interviews. What is your current day-to-day look like? And what are the things that you're doing? What are the things that maybe you're really good at? Or what are the things you don't want to do? What are the things we want to, low-level tasks that you're spending a lot of time, but you really want to be more strategic. So a lot of conversations, but really, we have AI experts, they're consultants. They're doing a lot of the assessments and identifying the opportunities. I'm myself and my company are just helping to kind of bridge the gap, looking for companies that may need support in this area.
What are the areas where you're seeing that most popular that companies want to automate in their workflow?
It's tough to say as a whole because oftentimes we're talking to marketing leaders, creative leaders, tech leaders, and they have their own individual challenges or workflows. But the majority, they're all saying we want to remove admin tasks, we want to remove low-level tasks, repeatable tasks. The main thing around AI is we still need that human touch, right? You still always are going to need someone to double check, to do quality checks, because AI isn't necessarily always going to give you the output that is equivalent to human. We're not yet at that singularity where artificial intelligence is exceeding human intelligence. So that is the main, messaging I've been hearing a lot this year is that the human taste is still needs to be a component within AI. In terms of how we're able to help clients, obviously in the recruiting front, right? They're looking to identify and bring on talent within any field that can bring AI expertise to their team, to their work. And then upskilling is the other area where we can assess a team's skill level. We offer Gen AI creative training, which is very focused. But we can also do just AI 101 courses where it's really assessing, hey, what does your talent base know about AI? How can we kind of overcome any sort of fear? And really having it happen at the company level, at the corporate level, is where you're going to start seeing kind of this mass adoption and this mass change within employees.
Yeah, you're building long-term consulting or consultative relationship with them. And so I really like your kind of subject matter expertise. How did you, from your long strategic career in staffing, what was the decision like to move into this new area and kind of lead your organization down this path?
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. I would say being on the ground, working with a lot of entertainment, tech, gaming companies for the past 5 years, maybe a little bit more at this point, seeing the need for at least tech talent that's going to come in and develop AI tools. The evolution then over the past few years of now we want creative marketing, operational account, project management talent that has AI skills and experience. It's just grown. So it seemed like this obvious next step of, we want to build a pool of talent that has some sort of AI skills because it's going to be in demand for companies. It's going to be the most in demand. But then it was really this natural progression of, let's target and engage AI experts, those that are from consulting firms that have worked with many, many different companies that are living and breathing these AI tools. That's their job, right? To know their capabilities, to go in and experiment. And that's where these like real use cases that we can go back and talk to clients about. How about creating a custom GPT that's specific to your brand, where all your internal and external communications can be a filter, and you can use that as a buddy to make recommendations. I mean, that's a very every company should have that, right? And it's very easy to implement, but a lot of people might not know that's even possible.
Yeah, I think some of the areas, yeah, gosh, you're right. There's just so many use cases that, I mean, not even just recruiting, right? Marketing or creative, accounting. There's just so many areas you can go into. I had to hire a tax manager because our accountants were doing it, all the tax filings,
Yeah,
and they wanted to get somebody who was a little bit more, had more expertise in that particular area of tax.
yeah,
You can ask ChatGPT now.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, wow. So, yeah, a lot of those things I think can be, I say, is automated the right term? Maybe not automated, but being able to interact with the correct answer.
yeah. What I anticipate, what happened to that person? Are they still on your team?
Oh, I'm still, we made an offer the other day. So
Hmm.
hopefully he
You're still
accepts.
hiring for them.
Yeah.
Okay, well
But I'm
that's
just thinking, like, you don't need to hire this. I'll just enter it into ChatGPT and I'll tell you how to do those tax filings.
yeah.
But
And I think the quality of outputs within AI, the accuracy is increasing quite a bit. And so and now there's sources, right, where you can double check the source and make sure this is correct. but that does start to touch on AI taking jobs, right? In this instance, you're still moving forward with that person, but what's the longevity of it? And so I think that's why anyone, whether they're employed or unemployed, they should be doing as much as they can, incorporating AI into their skill and seeing how they can elevate um, their own skills, right? So they're bringing value to employers. It's interesting too because people who are unemployed kind of have more time on their hands to be educating themselves, taking courses, listening to podcasts,
Great point.
experimenting. Those that are employed, especially with companies that currently don't offer AI tools or maybe only offer, like a Copilot or a ChatGPT, but it's pretty limited. Those are the people that are not really advancing their skills and ultimately their careers with the use of AI.
So the term performance enhancement is used for many different things, but AI is definitely that. And people are thinking that it's an immediate, you know, duplication of efforts.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's a replacement kind of situation. No, for even the tax example that you're bringing up, Todd, the tax expert would be made almost a superhero because they know exactly what questions to ask, what aspects of the process to automate or enhance. And so they become this behemoth in terms of their impact on the business. One of our AI experts that we work with, a guy named David Bracken, he's on the creative side, so he understands the whole workflow. And he was saying it's essentially a 5-year-old evil genie that you're talking to in terms of, chat or the other, systems. And it learns though as an expert. So if you're a filmmaker and you're a filmmaker and you're asking specific questions about how shots should come in or what lens filter you should be using, what sound aspects. I mean, asking those questions is the best way of training
Yeah.
and getting the best output from those systems. So, I mean, people need to get their arms and their heads around that because to your point about taking any downtime to learn more about these systems makes you highly effective
Yeah.
versus being worried about it replacing you.
Yeah. A few years ago, I thought the copywriter skill and that role was going to be the most obviously impacted. And this year, I've completely shifted my thought process that they're going to be the best prompters. And maybe they're not going to take over the tax manager role, for example, but they're the ones that can tweak their verbiage to get the outcome that they're looking for. And maybe that is really more under like a creative marketing advertising realm than another type of copywriter. But I think for most positions, for most jobs, there's an opportunity to elevate. But it takes the individual to kind of to step outside your comfort zone and to try, right? And to think and to explore and to just start incorporating it.
The one thing that I think is really important for the discussion for all companies is that people are thinking that the AI systems or the automation is replacing decision making. And
Mm,
that's where legal and biases and other things would come in. I think back to using Greenhouse or the creative process or workflows, it's more of the redundant task or even where you're doing a prompt, a Boolean search, or something very specific where it's very logically based.
yeah,
If you can then automate those things, those are usually the tedious task, Todd, scheduling, or both of you know about scheduling,
I mean,
right? So those are the things that I think they actually give people more time, the humans more time to make decisions
yeah.
because they're not focused on those menial tasks.
How has scheduling not been figured out? I mean, I have never been able to adopt like a Calendly, like a digital tool where I can say, "Hey, pick a time," because I might want time in between a meeting, and I get meetings put on my calendar all day long, and I'd have to spend time keeping my Calendly up to date, where it's like might be the same amount of time that I would spend scheduling a meeting. But how has that not been figured out?
Brian and I recently used an AI tool to create a PowerPoint deck when Normally that would take me 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on how graphic intensive it would be, down to really 10 minutes.
See?
I mean, talk about a game changer. I was like blown away, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of those areas where you're right, you might have a creative voice, but you don't know how to use the tools that are afforded to you.
Right. And how long have you been creating presentations? How long have you been spending time and maybe putting it off, right? Because it's not something that you're doing all the time. And what is the outcome? Yes, maybe you didn't hire a freelance designer for a few hours to do it. So yes, it does impact work ultimately. But how much did it positively impact your day, your workflow? And now you've done it once, you're going to get better and better at creating it. And it's not always perfect, right? You probably got an output and you needed to make some tweaks, but still the time it took is just, I mean, these are like life-changing, but you have to take the time to adopt it and try it. And I think that's what's, really hard for people.
Yeah, I recently had to doing a search for a Salesforce Marketing Cloud developer,
Yes.
and I shared with the hiring manager that we could provide behavioral interview questions for that particular role, not knowing what the heck I was doing with Salesforce Marketing Cloud engineers,
Yeah.
but I just put it as a prompt into ChatGPT, well, Copilot in this instance,
Yeah.
and then I got the top 10 behavioral interview questions based on the job description. So, rather than researching for about an hour and a half, it spit it out in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I think of AI and I lean on ChatGPT. I think of it as the smartest like colleague. It's a peer. It's,
Mm.
I'm not in the room with my coworkers anymore where you can bounce off ideas and hey, double check my email to this client or look at this presentation. But it's someone to bounce ideas off of, and it does, I feel like, help elevate. There's a lot of talk around, is AI making us like dumber or less smart? And does it mean we're not going to use our brains? Yes, it did give you an output. You could have probably took some time, even without researching, and put together some behavioral questions that you thought would net some results, right? But in getting those questions back from Copilot, don't you feel like you actually learned?
No question about it, because those behavioral interview questions that I gave to the hiring manager,
Yeah,
I'm going to use some of those to actually screen the candidate.
yeah.
Mhm.
And therefore you're elevating your own
Mhm.
work, your day. And again, it's the more that we elevate ourselves, you're bringing more value to the company. And that's how you make yourself as an employee be retained as we're in this world of downsizing, mergers, acquisitions, and fear, right? Um, yeah,
No, I think you're right, because even that comes off to the candidate, where you start to make them think about, their daily tasks. And me as the recruiter, not even a technical recruiter, just a regular recruiter, asking them about a particular project in the context of that particular role,
yeah,
I sound a lot more qualified to be
yeah,
that person's recruiter, and then know that I'm representing the candidate to the hiring manager
right.
properly, right?
I love that. That's such a great example. Good for
Yeah.
you.
So I think those are some of the areas where it it'll make you actually smarter, rather than,
Yeah.
so it's not artificial intelligence, it's actual intelligence, I guess, AI.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. And, the evolution really, when you think about Google, right? The internet. How life-changing was that? And Brian, I think you had a good example the other day. With any sort of technology advancements, there is a shift, right? There's a shift in how employees work, right? And even your work day or your personal life, right? There might be a shift in how you're using technology. But you adjust, and the efficiencies that are gained from, I think it was email that you had said, we used to send faxes and send letters, and then think about a world where we don't have email. What were we doing before then? And with the internet, and I think now this next evolution is is AI, and it's like the smartest, it's the smartest Google, and that's why there's actually a huge threat to Google and search engines because, these AI tools are becoming the new search engines. Because you can kind of interact with it, right? You can have an entire conversation with it where you can't with Google. So I barely even use Google anymore to search anything.
Yeah, I think that's one of the fears of Google that AI or ChatGPT will replace them in search, right? Their bread and butter.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So they're leaning in big time on Gemini.
Yeah. Have you all used Gemini much?
I have not. We're a Microsoft shop, so it's a Copilot.
Me too.
Yeah, I actually use multiple and will sometimes even shop the prompts
That's
to
great.
see, what results I get back. Todd introduced me to Manus. Have you worked with or heard of Manus?
Oh, I've heard of them. I have not looked them up.
It's interesting. I mean, it is it's more of a true reasoning service to where it will try to take the most basic of prompts where you're not an expert at all, but you're
Yeah.
asking something, and it would do a very thorough entire thought project for you on how you can solve that problem. But
Oh, the best advice I've ever heard. That's a really good one. About 6 months ago, I heard from our owner at Onward Search, Ken Clark. He heard from someone else. This was an advice that was given to from someone else, but use ChatGPT to help train you in ChatGPT. So you basically give it a prompt, and every single day it'll give you a new task, a new tidbit, a new way to kind of explore it. And that's a great way for anyone who isn't really using ChatGPT a ton to just start to learn its capabilities. So
Oh, that's a good one.
that's a that's a good one.
Wait, so you're saying what you ask Chat GPT daily or
you give it the prompt like every day, send me help me learn ChatGPT, and every day send me a new prompt or a new task or bit of information so that I can become, stronger in ChatGPT. And so the in doing it, what's interesting is it's not like on every day, like Tuesday morning, there's a new prompt, but once you're done with one, it prompts the next one, which is technically your day two. So you could do more than one in a day. But yeah, it's amazing, especially as ChatGPT's advancements, and the possibilities, the capabilities it has are really endless.
I'm going to
That's
do that from now on.
classic.
There you
Yeah,
go.
no, that's very good.
Spoken by the experts.
And that's coming from our owner. It just shows how, invested our company is into AI and how to help it make our work days more efficient.
Ooh,
So
you're good.
really,
God,
yeah.
Brian, she's good, man.
Oh, and the fact that your CEO learned it from someone else and passed it on, that's a really cool um thing to happen because
Yep.
everyone's learning. Some people get the feeling like, hey, this is me, this is what I know, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, you could continuously learn, continuously build.
That's really the crux of the reason why we decided to launch the AI at Work podcast. I'm not a podcaster myself, but getting the chance to have conversations with AI experts in different industries and learning from them, right? And helping to, understand its capabilities and what's possible, um, help kind of demystify AI to some degree and really share real world use cases on how has AI made an impact within, a company. So that's kind of where it all came from, and it's going to be launching very soon.
And it sounds like you guys really understand that messaging. So with you starting a podcast, I mean, I know you've mentioned it a little bit, but give us some more detail on the genesis of it and how you think that it would help get your messaging out to your target audiences. Because
Yeah.
I know you're also looking at, the business side and the talent side.
It's true matchmaking. Like we can't place candidates unless we have clients who need support in finding the right talent, right? And are partnering with us. So it's a little bit of a cycle, but the genesis of the AI at Work web series was really trying to put the message out there that, this is Onward Search's focus. We've been very AI focused, but so it is to some degree a marketing tool, but it's also a content tool, one that's going to be basically I'll be interviewing AI experts within creative, marketing, product, operations, and talking to them about what's their experiences, what are their real world use cases on how they use specific AI tools and what was the direct impact of it. And so the whole goal is to help demystify AI as we are doing in this conversation, right? Showing how it's not that scary. You just gotta try. You just gotta jump in. And so, yep, it's gonna end up being little snippets, little 30-minute snippets that are posted on LinkedIn, just sharing with people, the insights that I'm learning and that our company is learning from these experts that are spending their days, in AI, in these AI tools, reading about them, exploring, and then also working with other companies to see what their challenges are and how to help solve for them.
And if people wanted more information following your business, your content, looking into your work solutions more, where could they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm every single day talking to people, whether they're hiring, job hunting, want advice. Dominique Goulet. I think there's only one. I don't know. But you could definitely reach me there. Our company's Onward Search. There's a lot of information there from our AI placement, temp placement, direct hire placements, our AI solutions, our Gen AI creative training to help upskill talent, as well as other resources. We have some webinars that our AI professor has hosted for us this year, showing, let's use Midjourney and Runway, and let me show you how I create a campaign from these assets. Let me show you what these prompts have generated. Let me talk to you about what's possible with AI. So we have a lot of content and resources. We also have that six-step adoption to AI, how to turn an ROI for company leaders to start. So there's a lot of resources there, and I'm happy to connect with anyone and try to point them in the right direction.
That is awesome.
These are so kind. Thank you. This has been fun. It's been really fun to talk about this. And, I don't
Well, I
know.
think it's needed though. You know what I'm saying? Is like there's so much like fear out there, like you said, like, oh, it's gonna take my job. I don't know. Not if you lean into it. So don't be afraid.
Do you, um, what are you both like experiencing, hearing from companies? Like, do you hear of companies saying we're going to lay off 100 people because AI can do it now? Like, I hear it here and there, but I'm not hearing it at a place where it would warrant, I think, the fear that's out there with people.
Not at
No,
all.
yeah, they're not thinking that at all. If anything, I think AI will help them navigate to the newer technologies, a
Yeah.
different way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of the mundane tasks out of your workday.
And maybe a company who's 1,000 employees ends up being 750, but in general, I would say post-pandemic, right? How every company, literally every single company has gone through a merger, an acquisition, a downsizing, layoffs, right? Like that's just
Yeah.
kind of the world we're in.
Yep.
And so jobs have been impacted separate from AI, from
Well,
companies looking for cost reductions, right?
Yep.
well, unfortunately, and the people that remain, right, the employees that stay there, they're then impacted by all this additional work. And so that's one thing that I think is a little bit of a misnomer. People think that the scope of work and even companies' current reach, whether it be nationally, globally, regionally, what have you,
Yeah.
if these AI tools are about extending the reach. So if you're a niche, player or a boutique player, now you can actually have the force of seeming like a national player. It's not all about condensing down to your, the lowest common denominator necessarily. It could be you stay at 1,000 employees, but now instead of having $5 million, revenue cap, now you're looking at how do we drive to 15 million? And that's just, again, people start with the fear, like Todd was saying, and they're not thinking, wait a minute, how can I actually provide a value add? Companies, how can we add value to our services or our products?
Yeah. There's a thought I had there where a company has some downsizing, some layoffs, and you have this employee base that remains, right? And they're happy that they're still employed and they're lucky, they still have a job, but they now have more work on their plate with less resources, right? And I talk to people on a weekly basis. In this scenario, I'm asked to do more with less resources, and I can't hire, or maybe I can only hire a contractor part-time, let's say. And there's a lot of like limitations in terms of like resourcing and budgets. And what a perfect opportunity to incorporate AI, right? There is that upfront investment, and of course you need leadership and you need companies who are bought in and who are going to provide employees with tools. But spend how much, a few grand a year versus an employee that might have cost 75K a year. So what a great time to incorporate AI into a team's workflow, that now has more on their plate than they used to.
It's a morale saver too. So I think that that's a great point. I really like that idea.
Yeah. It's interesting because the people that get laid off, depending on their tenure and their level, they might have gotten a really great severance package. So
Mm.
even though there's this, negativity around it, now I have to find a job and there's an ego aspect to it. I was one of the ones that was like, oh, you actually might be better off because you are then, you have some compensation coming in and you can really focus on what's next. You can focus on your own career versus the people that are still there that are maybe struggling to keep up.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Dominique, this has been a truly enlightening and wonderful conversation. I think you've really humanized the talking points around AI and how we should be thinking about it. And I'm so glad to see how Onward Search has evolved their business to meet these future business needs as well as talent needs. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a fun conversation, and I hope to chat more AI with you both in the near future.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And always remember to stay sharp.